Assalamualaikum everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna get right into like the 9 or 10 shows that I'm watching because there's a lot to go through and I have a lot of things to do around my house. So let's get right into it. Honestly, there have been a lot of interesting episodes for all the different shows and some of them were not as interesting, but I have to get into the new show I started, which is A Dil, and this is honestly, I would say, a better show than Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum because it's way more realistic, especially with how things progress in the beginning. I feel like it was kind of like shock factor with Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum in the first episode and then also the comeback of Fahad Mustafa, but this show I feel like is similar storyline, I feel, but better, a lot better and a lot more believable, I feel, in some ways. And so I am really enjoying every episode so far, and there's so much to go over actually because we're in 14 or 15 episodes in. Oh my god, I thought I heard someone, but no one's home. So as I was saying, A Dil is so interesting compared to Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum, and I don't know how popular it is right now. I actually haven't checked, but I feel like this is like up there and possibly better than Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum. But I wanted to just talk about the most recent episodes because there's so much more to cover and I just don't have the time right now. But if you look at the most recent episodes, we see that the main character, they show like he's an upright, good, like person, he's a good son, a good friend, and now like a good husband, even though he's in a situation that he did not want to be in necessarily. But I think he understands that it's us ladki ka kasoor nahi hai, and so he's not subjecting her to unfair behavior, which would have otherwise happened if we look at other shows, including Kabhi Main Kabhi Tum and Dastak and like a bunch of other shows as well. Like that's the trend you normally see, but we're not seeing that in this guy. However, this guy is, you can tell, a little bit toxic, I would say, because he contradicts himself a lot, and they show him as a super uptight but relaxed like guy that likes to do things the right way or whatever, but then you see that he contradicts himself by saying to his wife, like first he accuses her of eavesdropping on his conversation and she's like, I just happened to come in at this time, I wouldn't do that, like I'm not that type of person. He's like, okay, well I don't like that. I'm like, okay, like don't, honestly kind of reminds me of me, which is not a good thing in some ways. But then 2 minutes later, the thing that I don't like is 2 minutes later they show he is actually eavesdropping on his wife's conversation, and thankfully and luckily she is complimenting him and saying good things about him. But what would happen if that was not the case? Obviously misunderstandings happen and stuff like that, so that was one thing that really annoyed me about his character. But I feel like it's still kind of realistic, everything that's been happening. And of course we finally get a little bit of drama, and thankfully it's not coming from inside the house. She is the girl, Maliha, she is getting medicine for her mom, and then she gets mugged by some people on the street, and now I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think he's gonna feel, the husband is going to feel really guilty for the fact that he was not able to be there and be the one to get the medications, because then this wouldn't have happened, and then there's gonna be a little bit of a sob story and we're gonna be like, oh my god, he's so good or whatever. And I don't want it to be that much, but I feel like that's what is going to happen. Oh my god, I got so scared. Assalamualaikum. So basically with the dad, the girl that the guy originally liked, I forgot his name, but he's Khizr in Meri Tanhai, which in that drama I really don't like him because he's a piece of shit, but in this drama he's better. But what I don't like about is that the father of the rich girl was like, oh, I don't need this type of person, like he was saying like, oh, you're not the type of person I would want for my daughter, and the only thing is that he doesn't have money, but he's giving her, like the guy, a huge sum of money to go away and like leave his daughter, right? And then my thing is like afterwards he himself says like, you have all the qualities of like the type of person I would hire or the type of person I would want to be in my circle, basically, right? And he realizes all of his potential. So in theory you could be like, you know what, why don't you just get married to my daughter, because you know what, like I was wrong. And in terms of the money part, he was gonna give him a large sum of money anyway to leave the daughter, so why don't you just allow him access to some of your resources or connections to then be at that level that you want. Like it's not clicking. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That doesn't make any sense for him to have a, like not change his mind afterwards, and now it's just ego. and we see that the dad only cares about his reputation and all of that, he doesn't really care about the daughter that much, and then gets her married to a guy that is more of a strategic relationship for him. And we see that he's not really like the type of person that you would want for your daughter, but it's just his position and power and resources are what's admirable. But you can see that the daughter isn't happy, so I feel bad for her, but I think that she will come back in to this world of our two main characters, but I don't think she'll be evil. That's what I'm thinking. I hope they don't try to pull like a second marriage thing over here and be like, oh, just marry her or something. Anyway, I don't think that's gonna happen, but those are my thoughts on this drama. And then we have Meri Tanhai. Basically, in Meri Tanhai, in the latest episode, which was episode 7, I think another episode came out today, but in terms of this episode, all we're really seeing is this disloyal guy who just got engaged, and we can see that the whole purpose of his agreeing to the engagement to his cousin was just so that he could get out of the country and study, which is what he wanted to do. And all I'm saying is, like, this is also the fault of the parents for clearly forcing something onto him that he doesn't want to, and then letting him loose into the wild world of the UK, where he is randomly falling in love with this girl that he met randomly multiple times, and conveniently is also his cousin. And it's just really annoying, and I think they're trying to mirror the relationship of Mary's parents and the Sareve uncle, but the difference between Hijr and his Sareve uncle is the fact that his uncle was not engaged to someone else when he came to UK, like, and cheating on his fiance, or about to, or alluding to, you know what I mean? And then the audacity of this guy to then call up when he gets caught for hanging out with someone else, we don't know who, and then afterwards she calls and it's a girl's voice that picks up Mary, and she calls him out for this, and he gaslights her more. I feel like this is the definition of toxic Pakistani desi men. The next drama we have is Duniyapur, and honestly I'm kind of getting like losing interest, but and the only reason is because I feel like the characters are being really reckless, and I feel like things are just happening, and it's like, I feel like if you're this type of person in this position, you wouldn't necessarily make the decisions that you're making. But I do have to say that I'm loving the outfits. I really liked Anna's wedding dress, but I hate that just because she's the main character doesn't mean that she should have the best dress. The other two dresses I didn't like. But did you notice one thing is really toxic about Anna and Duniyapur is the fact that she is basically setting up every single one of her future stepmoms to get totally destroyed by her father. Why? Because she always just equips them, poorly equips them with a weapon to kill her dad. And it's always like this tense moment of like, yeah, I'm his daughter, and like, here's this thing to kill him or hurt him. And then the girl is usually, the person he's marrying is usually some weak person in a weak position of power, probably illiterate and all this stuff, and probably doesn't know how to use a weapon like a gun. And then she misses, and then the dad beats the wife, and it's all because of Anna. Like, he was probably gonna beat her anyway to some capacity, but not as much. But she's honestly not really helping any of these people that she wants to help. Do we see that? I feel like she's a problem. Then we have Ishq E Junoon, and we finally have these huge developments. The first being that Eamon finally remembers everything because Shiroz comes back, and I don't even think she realized who he was just yet, but the fact that he tried to basically kill her or do something to her again, and in a similar fashion, in a similar environment that they were in last time, she starts to remember everything, and she's really upset, and she kind of just loses it. But then he threatens her, threatens Rahim, and he's basically like, you better keep your mouth shut, otherwise you're gonna have problems. And it was really, like, really, I have to say, the guy, Shiroz's acting, the actor is so good at playing this really, like, disturbing character, and it really shows. And a lot of people have been hating on Ushna Shah's character, or her act. However, I think it just so happens that she plays these characters that are supposed to be weak, feeble, and whatever. But again, like, I feel like people are starting to notice, no, she's doing a good job, and I think it was just the character that she's playing, and now the character is doing different things, and so you can see more of her, like, ability to capture the character and all of that. So I like that people are hating on her a little bit less, because it was making me feel a little bit sad. And what I think is really funny is the Mamu is like threatening Shiro's, like, don't do anything to Eamon now, because otherwise I'm not gonna let you go. I think he's going to get hurt. The mama is eventually going to get hurt in some capacity, because Shiro's is unhinged. It's so funny. He was walking into the office because he's just suddenly been like, oh, I'm gonna just take over now. And of course he loses his mind when his dad still doesn't trust him enough to be the chief person on this huge project, and it's still gonna be Rahim. But I'm like, you just did one good thing for your dad. How do you think he, like, why would he suddenly be like, oh, you can handle everything? That doesn't make any sense. So he needs therapy is the first thing. And the Mamu, it's great that he wants to protect Eamon now, but it's like, what, like, it's kind of like very selective what he's doing. I don't know, like, his character is a little bit gray. Like, you can tell he's well intentioned, but like the limits have been crossed a long time ago. I just feel like you're not doing enough by like giving these empty threats to Shiro's. And also I just hate the mom. The mom's crazy, like, she's actually crazy. But I do think that the show is gonna get so interesting moving forward. What I also think is really funny is, like, low-key I'm like wondering, are they having issues with budgeting? Because it seems like there were, for many episodes, Eamon behosh hoi bhi thi, she was in a coma, and now Rahim is in the same position. So I'm wondering how quickly he'll bounce back, because I feel like they probably don't get paid as much when they're just lying there behosh. Then we have Meri Tanhai, wherein we have इन लोगों का अपना love story चल रहा है, and दूसरे side पे लोगों को गोलियां मार रही हैं, लोग मर रहे हैं, whatever. I don't understand what's going on. I'm genuinely starting to lose interest, because literally, like, what is this? And it's getting a little bit frustrating having to try to put together the story, because it's just too much happening at the same time. So let's see what happens. Then we have Qarz Jaan, wherein I have to say, I don't want them to start focusing too much on the fact that Nashra really likes what's the guy's name? I forgot his name. Burhan. She really likes him, and like she's starting to like doubt herself and like, oh, like, does he not, like, why is he so into the other girl and whatever. And I'm like, don't push the story too much to this direction, because I am really liking everything else that's happening. Not every story has to be around a couple getting together and whatever struggles they have to go through. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. So I really hope that they like don't go too much in this direction. What I do like is the fact that Farial's mom basically rejects Aamir because like he's useless, and she also mentions that she likes the other guy a little bit more. I think, no, she doesn't say that, but they all suspect that, because obviously Burhan is way better of a bachelor candidate than Aamir, because it's Aamir. And of course, I'm not totally surprised by the fact that Amar's mom is now being threatened by her husband, that like our relationship is gonna get difficult if they don't get married. So basically force your sister to let the two kids get married, or force them to get married, otherwise you're gonna have issues. And she goes to her sister asking for that to happen. And I'm like, I don't think any mom, like, as much as they love their sisters, I don't think they would like ruin their child's happiness because her sister's husband is a piece of shit. So that's not happening. I really hope it's not happening. Then we have Iqtidar, and all I'm gonna say is I'm honestly not hurt or surprised or anything by the fact that Zayn got shot, and I am not. Those are honestly all the thoughts I have for this episode. The second episode just came out, but I didn't have time to watch it, so maybe I'll talk about it in the next episode review. But yeah, you guys know I'm not really into the show. Then we have Hijr, which honestly, like, I don't understand why the girl, I forgot her name, but why her fiance is so hell-bent on her not being a doctor, that he's like threatening the family that ye rishta khatam ho jayega if she doesn't come to my sister's wedding and festivities, even though she can't leave because she is doing her house job or hospital job, residency basically. And honestly, he's just annoying. Honestly, I think the parents should be like, yeah, you know what, maybe this isn't for our daughter, like, just, it's okay. But wohi baat hai ki paise wale log hain, to they're thinking they're gonna set up their daughter for life. But like, if he's kind of like this type of person that they portray him as, that everyone can see that he's not really a great guy, doesn't really care about her that much, he's just like a little crazy in love, And like if you can get past that, then oh tika, because you're gonna have money. But like if you have money but you're crying like all the time, I don't know if that's worth it. Then the last show we have to talk about is Dastak, and basically in this episode we see again the guy is so angry at his wife all the time and gaslighting her all the time, even though he's cheating. He's gotten caught, like you've been caught red-handed. And what's crazy is he hates his wife so much, Kiran, and then somehow we find out that she's pregnant. I'm like, I thought you couldn't stand the sight of her. What is going on? And then what we see is that, you know, he's still in touch with his ex, and you know, he gets frustrated that Kiran finds out, or that she's like going through his messages or calls or whatever, but literally she just happened to see, and she called one time because she got just enough confidence, because it seemed like, you know what, like he wants to try to make this work out. So she picks up the phone, is like, don't call my husband or whatever, and then he loses his mind and gets super aggressive with her. And then jo Canadian modern wali behan hai, unne dekh liya, and then she sees that Kiran, you know, faints or something like that at the end of the most recent episode, and now she's upset, and now sabka matlab shamat aa jayegi kyunki ye modern wali ladki kahegi ki ye kya ho raha hai, whatever. I'm looking forward to see what she does, because I don't think that the baby hopefully is fine, but what we're seeing is, it seems like Kiran will start to take a stand for herself, because the mamu gave her just enough confidence to like realize that she shouldn't have to, like, he doesn't really know what she's going through exactly, but she realizes that she should be allowed to stand up for herself, and she should like be able to demand a little bit of respect for herself. So it'll be interesting to see the next coming up episodes. Those are basically all of my thoughts, condensed as much as I could, and I will continue to watch the episodes. A lot of episodes have come out just today even, but I can't watch them because I don't have time. But I will see you guys in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.